I don't ever want to have kids. I don't ever want to get married.
Yeah, she was totally against the idea of having a family, which is why for a long time I didn't think there was like a future with Sabrina because she was so gung-ho about ever starting a family.
You had been cheated on, and so that was a lot of trauma that you were carrying, and it showed up in our relationship. We're able to work through that, but it's just like, I mean, that's just a good example of one of the things that was something that was not processed.
If you push back and you're like, you're being crazy, she's like,
right. If you call a woman crazy, she's like, I'll show you crazy.
I'll show
you already called me crazy, so I'll show you crazy.
She knows that she's dealing with this. So
Yeah.
like, I
So
don't
it
need to
makes
like
me
make
feel
her feel bad
bad.
about it.
Yeah.
Instead, I was just like, we're dealing with this, and
But,
like we're in it together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I've had people tell me, you know, oh, that would be nice. Like that must be nice.
Oh,
That
yeah.
must be nice.
Yeah.
And it's just like
You can have that.
you can have that. Like
Yeah.
you just gotta like
You gotta
try, send just send it.
Just send it.
Just
do it.
Just do it. Yeah. Nike, you want to
Unload
sponsor?
your trauma.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, that's true.
Yeah, there was so many things too, just like from my previous marriage too, that like I had just accepted as norms in the relationship of the yelling and that kind of thing. And even I remember the first time that Nicole made me see something different was when my daughter Sophia came over and we had these grapes in the freezer that we had put Kool-Aid on or whatever. Like
Yeah, it's like
grape.
Jello. You take frozen grapes and you put the Jello packets on them.
yeah.
It makes like sour grapes.
And then Sophia grabs it out of the freezer and she's got the bag and she tries to open the bag and just all over the floor, like all these grapes everywhere. And I look at Nicole and I'm expecting my reference experience is that she's going to start yelling now, right? Because Sophia just dropped all these grapes all over this floor and Nicole's just helping her pick them up. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something, what's going on here? Why isn't she yelling? You know, that was just what I was used to. That was my experience. And it's just crazy now. So many days I wake up and I think there's just like peace.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to see her. She's happy to see me. I don't feel like she's resenting me. I don't feel like she's snipping at me about things. And I don't like, it's just, I couldn't have imagined that it was possible to live a life like that. But, but there it is. So,
Yeah.
No, peace is possible.
Yeah.
Like and so when I met John, when I was 21 years old, and we're like hanging out, hooking up, and we're in his hot tub, and I was like, I don't ever want to have kids. I don't ever want to get married.
Yeah, she was totally against the idea of having a family, which is why for a long time I didn't think there was like a future with Sabrina because she was so gung-ho about ever starting a family. And that was because she didn't want to bring
The
Like
kids into
I
the
didn't
world
think
cycle
peace was
based
possible.
on
Yeah.
I was like
the life
so
she lived as a
afraid.
kid.
yeah.
yeah.
I was terrified. I was terrified of like that because I knew how detrimental that was to me. I never wanted to wish that on any human being ever again. And then, as the years went by, I was like, wait a minute. I literally have the power to control like what I want in my life. Like I don't have to yell at my children. I don't have to judge my children. I don't have to judge my partner. I don't have to yell at my partner. Like that doesn't have to be my reality anymore. And then I made that decision and that's what it is. And like, that's what I will continue.
And then once she realized that she can have peace and her future kids can have peace, then she's like,
I was like, hello, John.
let's make some babies. Yeah. we're going to want to do that.
Like,
now.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been, and Nicole, I think, you've talked about it before, but you had been cheated on. And so that was a lot of trauma that you were carrying and, and it showed up in our relationship. Right. And we were able to work through that, but it's just like, I mean, that's just a good example of one of the things that like was something that was not processed, that was not fully.
I mean, even the other day I was like, John, how do you like not worry about worrying? He's like, what? And I'm like, I'm afraid if I stop worrying, the bad thing will happen because I've worried my entire life about things. And so the second I stop, it'll happen, right? And he's like, and I'm like, logically, I'm like, no, that's not how it works. And logically, I know the answer, but I'm like,
I don't even know how this how those words are coming out.
John's like, I'm overwhelmed. This John over here is like, I'm overwhelmed. Thankfully, John's like, okay. Like he talks to me about
actually, I forgot to tell you about that. I forgot to compliment you on that because I don't know if you realized how good that made me feel that you had solicited my advice on something and wanted to hear my.
I did know that you would feel good about that, but I also wanted your help too.
I was out running. I was like, yeah, she wants my opinion.
I do.
She listened to what I had to say. Like, I was like, but yeah, no, that's meaningful. But yeah, I mean, those things that you carry and have to work through. That's.
But it's nice to like be able to ask him that question. And, like, even though I know the answer, and he actually did give me an answer that I didn't like fully dive into and was helpful, which we were talking about earlier. But, I never would have been like, hey, I'm worrying about this, and he gave me the capacity to like talk it all the way through in like a very in-depth way that also made me feel like I could figure out the answer. Because like you can have the knowledge, you can have the answer, but until it like clicks in your mind, you're not really going to do anything about it.
But also John is giving you the opportunity to like bring your like you're scared, like ugly, like crazy, maybe like all these like adjectives that we like tie to women.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but really,
And then he was like, all right, let's like unpack this, right?
Yeah.
And I think like John, has like in the last few months has like really opened up to this part. He was like, and specifically around my period. Like, and at first, the days before my period, he would be like, why are you being crazy? And like,
not the C word. You did not use the C word.
He used to use it a lot.
He used it a lot.
Yeah.
And then
dumb move.
Don't use the C word.
And then you know what I realized is,
I'll let you tell it.
I just realized like if you're abrasive with it, it doesn't help. And so there was like a day I think she was on
my
edge. And I was just like, babe, I recognize that we're in our luteal phase right now.
And like fully just like.
And I was just like, I understand that maybe your emotions and your mind things probably aren't really making sense. And I totally get it. Like this is just the phase of, the cycle that we're in together right now.
Yeah.
And she's just like, oh, like thank you so much. Like we're in it together. Like,
He did that twice in one day. It was the first time he did it. And
I fully disarmed her. Like, just like if you push back and you're like, you're being crazy, she's like,
right. If you call a woman crazy, she's like, I'll show you crazy. You already called me crazy, so I'll show you crazy.
She knows that she's dealing with this.
Yeah.
So like, I don't need to like make her feel
bad
about it.
Yeah.
Instead, I was just like, we're dealing with this and like we're in it together.
Yeah.
But like as a man, like I think like one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give as like a woman within a relationship is like welcome your woman's crazy.
Yeah.
Like wholeheartedly welcome her in and give her a hug.
Just make her know she's safe to
And
be
make
that
her-
way.
and
It's
then-
like
and
it's
then
not
the
it's
moment-
happening.
It's happening.
It's happening either way.
John
Let
has
it-
definitely done that.
let it ride.
And then it literally disappeared. He was like, we were driving. I remember we were passing like the Costco on the way to our house. And I was like, I'm just feeling really sad right now. And he said, I understand why you're feeling sad.
You're like healed.
Instantly.
Well, I think I said, I was like, oh, are we feeling sad? Okay. I was like, cool, we can feel sad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was
And
like,
you
yeah,
said
that
makes sense.
makes sense. We can feel sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, but let's pull out of it. But instead of just being like, you're sad, like about what? Like, why are you sad? Like, there's nothing to be sad about, and being dismissive, which is what I used to do because it didn't make sense to me. And the thing is, it's never going to fully make sense to me because I'm a man. She's a woman, and she has emotions that pour through her in a totally different way than I do, especially with hormones.
Right. And we worry about worrying. That's what we do.
No, worrying about worrying.
Worried about worrying.
100%. 100%. And like,
but then once I related with it, and just was like cool with it, just like accepted it.
It literally
then it just
disappeared.
went away.
Yeah.
And literally, when we were having that conversation, you were worrying about worrying. So with
I was in
You're
the,
like,
the
I'm worried
zone.
and like realistically, does that make any fucking sense? Absolutely not.
But it doesn't
But
matter.
we also know that. That's what I'm trying to say. We
you know
have
it
the
too.
knowledge.
Yeah.
But we can't stop the emotion.
No,
the
yeah,
feeling.
and like you're in your head, and like when your hormones are like going up and down and up and down, and you're just like, I really like. I can tell him. I've literally have said, baby, I've got the wheel again.
Yeah, she's
wheel.
come back. She's come back and she's been like, oh, like yeah, she's gone. I've got the wheel again. Like I'm back in control.
The
Like
alter
I'm
ego.
logical again.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there you are. All right, we can like.
But if you fight the like the little gremlin in all women,
Yeah.
then it's only
Oh,
going to
then it multiplies.
It just keeps getting
Like-
worse.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like you don't want to multiply
Well,
that gremlin.
yeah.